Asato ma sadgamaya tamso ma jyotirgamaya mrityormamritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This beautiful Shanti mantra is a prayer to Almighty and Guru to lead us from darkness on to light. Today, in search of this light, we have with us Mahamandaleshwar Swami Abhishek Chaitanya Giri Maharaj. Swamiji is ordained and holds the title of Chief Monk. Swamiji has been guarding Vedanta and Yoga tradition and lineage in India, and he is also the head of Sannyas Ashram in Rishikesh. Swamiji has been enthralling his audience across the globe, and Swamiji has been giving lectures in countries like India, Indonesia, Thailand, Hong Kong, and Italy and USA also. Swamiji is also represented Sanatan Dharma in Vatican Council. We welcome you, Swamiji, with the folded hands and bowed head. Swamiji, like this prayer said, that lead us from darkness to light. What is the purpose of life, Swamiji? Is it like moving from darkness to light, or is it from mrityu to amritatva? That is, what is moksha, Swamiji, and what is the ultimate aim? Is it moksha only, or is it something else that one has to look for in life?
Thank you, Shipra ji, for bringing me to this conversation with you. On the very outset, the question has many facets, as it is asking me, asking for the meaning of the mantra. It is asking in a way as what could be called as the purpose of life. And it also is asking how could we define moksha or liberation.
Yes.
So you have rolled many questions into it.
Okay.
Here's the first thing is, yes, our life is a constant search, seeking, and we are seeking to move upwards.
Yes.
And therefore, just as a plant left in a dark room with just a ray of light entering into it, the plant would also move naturally towards the light. So the movement of life from darkness to the light, from ignorance to knowledge, from the gloom of unhappiness, misery, sadness, and suffering, to freedom, to joy, to peace, is natural. And this is perhaps embodied in everyone, not just human beings, but for everyone. Even a small mosquito would want to set itself free if you ever try to catch it.
True.
So this movement towards freedom is something natural, and so that exactly is what the word moksha means. Much vimochane, that is the verbal root,
Yes.
which means the word liberation itself speaks for itself, and that is the freedom. Then since you are seeking freedom, what is the freedom that you are seeking? So naturally, then everything boils down that one is seeking freedom from suffering, and one would want to see that the freedom from suffering would be a permanent one.
True.
Nobody wants to suffer again.
Yes, yes, yes.
So that is what moksha is, and so that is what is the movement of life.
Very true, very true.
One more thing that I would like to add over here is, by accepting this, that this is a natural movement. Now, when you are saying that what would you call as, development of economic development is where there is an economic freedom.
True, true.
Whether it be men or women, whether it be countries, first world or the third world, when there is financial freedom, when there is economic freedom, and that is what is sought. So in a way, freedom is sought, liberation is sought.
Yes.
In what direction you are seeking is yet another question, but the movement towards liberation is most natural, and by accepting liberation as something natural to human life, then makes you see that as something that is legitimate.
Very true. Very true. Swamiji, so how can one attain one's true self, the ultimate essence?
Attaining one's true self, the question itself is quite contradictory, because when you are saying attaining oneself, who is the question, because you yourself are what
That.
you are.
Yes.
What is it that you need to attain then?
Yes, very true.
So the thing is that yes, there is yet, we are going to say there is an attainment, and that means praptasya praptihi.
True.
Praptir iva praptihi, as though, it's as though. And why we are adding as though is because there is a confusion,
Yes.
and every kind of confusion is caused, misunderstanding is caused only because of ignorance. So this seeking for the self, for yourself, is because you don't know. And that what you are seeking throughout your life, whether you are seeking, when you are seeking money, you are seeking men and women, whether you are seeking popularity and power and position, yet that search actually is not for anything of these. The search is actually for that. Throughout all these various endeavors, it is only screaming for what you are really are seeking. You know what? Just a minute, and I'll explain this. Let us say somebody is seeking popularity. Question to him is, how much popular would you want to become?
Yeah.
And he would say endlessly. If somebody is seeking love, we would ask you, how much love are you seeking? And he would say, to infinity.
Yeah.
If you're seeking money, how much money? And you would say, countless. So you see, in every answer, what have you sought really is that what is
Infinite.
infinite,
Yeah.
that what is limitless. And that is what we call as Paramatma, Anantam, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. So knowingly or unknowingly, this is what you're seeking. Then might as well acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And not only acknowledge it, then that what you're seeking, when is yourself, then it is only because you do not know. So knowledge is the only way.
Very true. Very true. Okay, Swamiji,
And let us not reduce this knowledge and the path of knowledge to some sort of an intellectual gymnastics, because it has become a fashion in people who are so called and calling themselves spiritual, as by mocking it as an intellectual exercise or intellectual gymnastic.
Very true. Very true.
For these are the people who, in their whole enthusiasm, are not able to understand the value of knowledge.
True.
Because that is what truly is liberating.
Yes.
So, yeah, Jnana Devatu Kaivalyam is what the Upanishads say.
Okay. Swamiji, this world, when we are in it, and especially when we are in the happy moments of life, this world seems so enticing, so beautiful, yet scriptures and the learned ones and the seers have seen it as Maya, Mithya. So Swamiji, what exactly is this universe, this world, and what is our place in it?
You perhaps are going to see two polarities.
Okay.
Yeah. One is the polarity where people are saying Sarvam Dukkhamiti.
Yeah.
And great teachers like Patanjali himself is going to say, Sarvam Dukkhamevahi Vivekinaha.
Yes.
And then you have, on the other hand, where it is somebody from Upanishad saying that Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma.
Yeah.
Everything is Paramatma.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if you are left to choose between these two, you are going to say one seems so pessimist and the other seems so optimist.
Just too positive.
The opposite. And that's why I said these are polarities that you see in spirituality. But the fact is that unless and until you have gone through Patanjali's camp, you cannot reach where Shri Krishna is taking you.
Okay.
Because enticed is the word that you have used. And perhaps it is just perfect word, because we are infatuated.
Yeah, we are, yes.
And infatuated means that we are self-mesmerized.
True.
It's kind of a self-hypnotization.
Okay.
Where you are saying that, You like a thing and because it makes you happy. For a minute, you should pause, and then you have invested the value of happiness in something. And now, when you are not going to see or find that man, that woman, that object, then you are going to cry foul and say that I'm unhappy because I didn't get it.
Yes.
It was you who kept the value of happiness there, and now you are saying you can't get it.
Yeah, because it's...
Now, look at that whole folly of ours. And this is what we call as life and our life of struggle.
Yeah.
Your struggle is struggle to be happy. And where have you put it? Who has kept you away from happiness? Who has kept you away from peace?
Yeah.
And that's why it is some sort of a self-mesmerism, enticement. And it is not the world which is enticing you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have hypnotized yourself, no one else.
By connecting to objects and people outside.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Swamiji, there's this question also which says that we are embodied souls, that is Jiva. Then Swamiji, what exactly is Ishvara? And when we talk of Vedanta and Advaita Vedanta specifically, there's a term also which is called Brahma. So are these interrelated? Are they one? Or are they different, understood as many? What exactly is it?
One is seen as many.
One is seen as many, yes.
And one is seen as many because it is seen through different conditionings.
Okay.
Just as, I mean, here you have a very classical example to understand this point, and that is just one sun and several buckets of water. You're going to see several suns reflected in many buckets.
That's true.
So, though the sun has never become many, you have many, multitude over here. And that multitude is only because of different buckets. So also this one existence, one infinite consciousness appears as these embodied jivas who are struggling in this world. And then they say that there is Ishvara who is who's the controller of this world.
Yes.
Because they themselves find that they are controlled
By someone.
They are at mercy of various forces around them. You know, you are at mercy even with little viruses running around.
True.
So you see, so though you can call yourself as free and, you know, what do they call, a free citizen of this democratic country, you are not free because,
Yes.
you know, you are still subject to even small little virus.
Yeah.
Ishvara means, just look at this, just as, you know, you have several living cells in your body, and each single cell is unique and what do they call, is a unitary life in itself. It has got its own life, it has got a role to play.
True.
Similarly, you are also placed in this whole world as one unit.
Okay.
Okay? You, in the sense, this body-mind complex is a part of this world. This whole world is the body of Ishvara. And your body, your mind is a part of that whole.
Okay.
So there is a relationship of part and whole when it comes to this conditioning of the body and mind.
Okay.
But when it comes to the consciousness, it is the same consciousness which is there in the totality, which is there in this one unit, in singularity.
So, Swamiji, like this one reality is seen as many, we see one can reach or one can approach this reality in many ways. Like there are different paths. Of course, there are 6 schools of Vedanta. So, what according to you seems the most practical one, or shall one look for a combination of these? Shall one approach it like one at a time and maybe like steps? One can go from bhakti to yoga to bhakti and...
You're right. In a way, for different people, it is also seen as steps. But moreover, Some people have even tried to make it as some sort of an integral, putting everything together, making it a big hodgepodge.
Okay.
Yet, every thought, every philosophy has a role to play.
Okay.
Okay. There is a very concise, small little work by Madhusudan Saraswati called as the Prasthana Bheda.
Okay.
And that says that no matter how remote the philosophy that you may follow can be, yet it somehow of the other is going to lead you to Paramatma,
Okay.
to that truth.
Okay.
Because these are all different, what do they call, earnest searches made by people.
Correct.
They are earnest. There is it's a very popular shloka from Shiva Mahimna Stotra.
Yeah.
Perhaps you must have also heard it. And Swami Vivekananda, in his very opening speech in that hall, had used it
Chicago.
in Chicago. And that was this Trayi Sankyam Yogaha Pashupati Matam Vaishnavamiti Prabhinne Prasthane Paramidamadah Pathyamiti Cha Ruchinam Vaichitryad Rujukutila Nana Pathajusham Nranameko Gamyastvamasi Payasa Maranava Iva. This shloka is very clear. It says, just as water, no matter where the water runs from,
Yes.
even if it is going to be in a glacier for thousands and thousands and millions of years,
True.
Yet when it is going to melt, it is going to go to the sea.
True.
It is definitely. So all the rivers are going to find their way to the sea.
Very true.
Just one thing, some rivers can go very easily and some take a very crooked, meandering way.
Yes. Yes.
And some rivers meander into the desert
Yeah.
to be lost.
Yeah.
But ultimately, even the meandering river, which is lost in the desert, will also become bashpa, will become the steam,
Evaporate
and go sit in the clouds, and one day that water will come down back
ultimately
again to its own destination, and that is the sea.
Yeah.
Similarly, no matter where you are, what you are doing, you are seeking that. I remember a sentence by Ramana Maharshan, which is very, what do they call,
Apt for this?
apt, poignant. It says, your head is in the tiger's mouth, where will you go?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where will you go? Jaoge ka, you will have to come to this. Apparently, you may say, oh, Jesus, Yesu, this, that, you may do everything.
Yeah.
If not this life, 10 lives hereafter.
You have to
You'll
ultimately.
have to seek, and you will have to seek this.
Okay. So like Swamiji, you explained that one drop maybe, get deserted somewhere and it will take longer than the others. Swamiji, is it the karma? Like, does karma play a significant role in one's spiritual life?
Oh, yes, yes. Certainly, certainly, certainly. If you are not careful about what you are doing, how you are doing, what you are speaking, every form of karma, whether it is physical karma or a verbal karma or a mental karma, all of them are amounting to where you are going.
Okay.
Because karma is the force which takes you.
Yes, yes, yes.
It is very interesting, Shipraji, that it is said that God created this world.
Yeah.
Now our question is, if God ever created this world, then why did God create this world with such massive disparity?
True.
He made you beautiful. Why did He make me ugly? He made you born with a silver spoon in the mouth. Why me in this kind of thing?
Yeah.
Despicable condition.
Yeah.
Why so for me? You're God. You had everything with you. You have used the same 5 elements to create this other fellow. You are using the same 5 elements to create me, and yet you have put me in a despicable condition, and that fellow seems to be doing so good.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you're going to say God did this, and God created this world, and God created the world, then you are going to say this God then is some sort of a freak who enjoys making people suffer.
Yeah.
So if you do not have an explanation that even if it is God who is going to create, who is the creator, yet He requires karma as the force, to give you what you have.
Okay.
And therefore, even for Ishvara, when karma is required, sapeksha.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
सृष्टि के लिए ईश्वर कर्म की अपेक्षा रखता है.
बिल्कुल.
ब्रह्मसूत्र में इस बात की चर्चा आई है.
बिल्कुल.
And so, if this is there,
Yeah.
then to say that whether how important is karma as a force in your life, because that is the only force that is taking you further. That itself will determine where you're going, what will happen to you, what you are going to experience.
Okay. So now that we know that karma plays an important role, and there are scriptures, there are gurus which can guide us in the right direction, how to live a life which is more fulfilling, more wholesome. Swamiji, how important it is to have a guru, and how to know that's the right guru, especially in this time, and also how to approach a guru. If you found the right one, say, how to approach, what is the right way to approach?
In today's time of pseudo-intellectualism,
yeah,
where, just denying what tradition brings to you, or just criticizing what tradition has brought to you as something that is redundant, something that is useless, something that is harmful,
yes.
in days when it is a fashion.
Yeah.
This is a question.
Yeah.
And because a person is seen intellectual if he is able to mock at everything that tradition brings.
Okay.
But let me tell you, in our tradition here in this country,
Okay.
एक गाली है, गरियाते हैं, निगुरा.
अच्छा.
You know what that means? एक गाली है. It is sort of an abuse. In fun also it can be said. But it is said निगुरा, means जिसको गुरु नहीं है.
हाँ, ठीक है. निगुरा.
निगुरा.
हाँ.
गुरु नहीं
हाँ,
है.
गुरु नहीं, ठीक है.
Kind of you are so orphaned.
Without a guru.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Our Maharaji, Swami Akhandanji Maharaji once said, somebody asked Maharaji this question, Maharaji, is guru required?
Okay.
Maharaji, because Maharaji spoke in Hindi, he said, भाई क्या तुम इतने दुर्भागी हो कि तुम्हारे जीवन में अगर तुम गलत हो तो तुम्हारा कान खींचने वाला कोई नहीं रहा.
बिल्कुल ठीक.
या तो तुम सर्वज्ञ हो या तो तुम दुर्भागी हो. इन दोनों में से बताओ तुम हो
कोई एक हो
कि तुमको गुरु की जरूरत नहीं दिखती. दुर्भागी हो सकते हो. क्या तुम इतने लावारिस हो कि देयर इज नोबडी टू गाइड यू इन लाइफ. Yes, you have your intellectual freedom. Nobody is going to stop that.
True.
But does that mean that, you could be intellectually independent? And independence of intellect means that you are free to question.
Okay.
And never ever forget this tradition of the Upanishads, where the whole tradition is
based
questioning.
On questions, yes.
No other religion and no other tradition ever has this, that where you could question and questioning is encouraged. Because with questioning, a child grows. A child will not grow if you are going to ask, shut up, don't question. So, knowledge and development of knowledge basically means questioning. And whom are you going to question?
Teacher.
To the Guru. And therefore, why not? You require. Okay. Guru is required.
And how to identify one?
If you are going to ask me about how does the tradition of Upanishads say who could be a guru, I can tell you about that. Yeah. But if you are going to say, well, we want some guru who can do some, give us strange spiritual experiences and all, perhaps I'm handicapped at that question.
No, the Upanishad, the scriptural reference of.
Sa gurumeva abhigachet samit panihi shrotriyam brahmanishtham. That is the mantra. So the person who has seen the limitations of life, now he doesn't want to embrace things outside. Now he says, is there truly something which will set me free? And if this is your question,
Yes.
then you are seeking liberation.
Correct.
Then in different words, you are seeking Brahman. Then in different words, you are seeking that knowledge, which is the ultimate knowledge, Adhyatma Vidya Vidyanam.
True.
If this is your quest, then the Upanishad says, Saguru meva bhigachet shrotriyam brahmanishtham. He should come from the tradition of the Vedas.
Okay. Bona fide.
Shrotriya is a person who comes from the tradition of learning the Vedas along with all his sharangas.
Okay.
Okay?
Nyaya and grammar and
Shrotriyam.
phonetics. Yeah.
And then he should be brahmanishtham,
Okay.
established in Brahman. But you are a person who's going to a person to ask what Brahman is. How would you know that he is established in Brahman when you yourself do not know what Brahma is?
Yes. Yes.
So this seems to be some sort of a, not a cycle, but some sort of a puzzle. But it is not actually a puzzle. If you ever went by the tradition
Okay.
and have understood the mantra from the tradition. Otherwise, it would simply mean a person who is established in Brahman. Now, you would have certain sort of an imagination. A person who is established in Brahman is somebody who is like a space cadet, lost all the time. No, it simply means that this person, because you are not going to know whether he is Brahmanist or not. All that you can know from his, transactions with the world, something about this person is that ye imandar hai. He is true. I can trust him. But other than that, you have one more thing that is there, and that is you see him engaged only in Shravana, Manana and Nididhyasanam. You don't see him in any other kind of an activity.
Okay.
I'm not against anything else. I'm not saying that, the spiritual organization should not have orphanages or hospitals or schools and colleges. Well, please have that in plenty. Please have that in plenty. Make yourself contributors to the society.
Yes.
But we are now talking about Guru, and don't forget that.
Yes.
So over here, the Guru means a person who is totally, who seems to be only with Shravana, Manana and Nididhyasanam. And this is what is called as Brahmanishta, because even an ignorant person will know that he does nothing else other than just this.
Okay.
So this is the person whom you can identify, who comes from the tradition of the Vedic learning, from the tradition of the Upanishads, from the tradition of learning the Vedas along with all its 6 limbs. And he who is engaged in no other activity except just this. He is definitely whom you can say is Brahmanishta, and such is a person whom you can approach.
Okay, Swamiji, since you've been authority in Vedanta, Swamiji, how practical you think is Advaita Vedanta and Upanishads in modern day life, when everyone's kind of running after material things, and everyone seems to be in a race to reach somewhere or to get something out of life? How practical is this?
Okay, let me tell you, I'm not an authority. Thank you for saying that, though. I'm just a seeker. Perhaps I don't claim myself to be an authority, because what I see myself as is only like a sparrow which has dipped its beak in the water.
Okay.
And, so it is called Chanchu Pravesh.
Okay.
Just that much. I do not have the audacity to ever say that, because this is vast, massive.
True.
Even one drop from what Shankaracharya has said can quench your thirst of millions of life. So that one mantra can do that much. And even if one is able to understand one small little thing from the Upanishad, enough, that would be a great inspiration to live your life. Nevertheless, How practical is Advaita Vedanta? What I see in this world of disparity, of strife, is and of differences. We are set against each other because we have differences.
Yes.
And what, even in a relationship, what do you call as love is where there are no differences.
Yes. True. True.
And it is where does your love start cracking is where you start seeing differences. And when those differences become blaring, that is where you drift apart.
Yes.
दरार तो तब पड़ जाती है. Advaita Vedanta is that which makes you see that one whole, that one which is free from all differences. Whether men, women, and people from different religions or different ideologies, and no matter what, when everything is seen as one, everything belongs to you, you belong to everything.
Very true.
This world is your home and everyone is yours. No one is a stranger and no one is other. Because the problem is they, the other, every time. Advaita Vedanta is that which gives you this vision of oneness.
Oneness.
So it is the world which is in dire need of love,
Okay.
world which is in dire need of acceptance, the world which is screaming for peace and small little fragments of joy. Here is Upanishad giving you in whole scale.
Yeah.
So even to have that vision will change a person's psychology. And it is because our society today has ignored the message of the Upanishads, the message of the Bhagavad Gita. We stand fragmented, divided, people full of hatred. And if our religion and if any religion cannot give you this peace, joy, acceptance, and completeness of life, then let's stop calling it religion.
Okay, Swamiji, you've told us that, Advaita Vedanta kind of blurs the boundary between the two, and it makes you realize that there's nothing actually which is different from you. But we experience the world in dualities, right? We experience it as sorrow and happiness. We experience it as summer and winter. Like there are a pair of dualities. We experience everything in between these, either on the one end, sometimes we are on the other end, sometimes we are on the other end. So, how can one find equilibrium in these situations where life seems swinging either on the one side or the other side? How can one find a perfect peace, a tranquility, and an equilibrium?
So you are asking how to strike this fulcrum of balance.
True.
When life brings you summer, enjoy summer.
Okay.
And life brings you winter, enjoy the winter. When there are failures, learn from the failures. And when there is success, help others succeed.
True.
Let not success intoxicate you, and let not failures drown you.
Yeah.
It is only when you start looking at the other side, what could be the other, because that is what is expansion of vision. When you are able to see little beyond the mountains, then you have grown, then your vision has,
Expanded.
expanded. Otherwise, we are still living a small dwarf life. So when failure comes, look at it and say that what is it in this experience that I have to learn?
Okay.
If you learn something from that experience has brought you a great gift of life.
Yeah.
No matter how bitter that experience is.
Okay.
So if you have learned from a bitter experience, now you have surmounted it.
Okay.
And if you have learned even something from a sweet experience, you have also digested it.
Yes.
So, if you are able to take care of both, so success and failure, winters and summers, joys and sorrows, look for something to learn, be a curious student all the time.
Okay.
Don't stop being a disciple, because life is teaching you at every moment.
Okay.
So I feel if you are a disciple, if you're a student, you will be able to, one will be able to strike that balance,
Right.
because you're constantly learning. And when you are learning, there is no loss.
Yeah.
दोनों हाथ में लड्डू है.
सही बात. सही बात. Okay, Swamiji, you have done your specialization before in psychology and behavioral science, and then you have been practicing for years Vedanta and yoga. And Swamiji, all through these years, what is that one practice that you feel has always served its purpose for you and is really helpful for you all these years?
Oh, well, a nice question indeed. Two things.
Okay.
One is that I have to admit that I was never an outstanding student.
Okay.
So, you bringing the past and everything, but I was not an outstanding student.
Okay.
But I had one thing in me,
Okay.
and that is a sense of respect
Okay.
towards my teachers. Even I'm not just talking about the spiritual teachers. I'm talking about any teacher right from my childhood that they came. I had a deep sense of respect. That reverence
Okay.
for my teachers, perhaps it was something brought to me by my parents.
Yeah.
In today's generation, let me tell you, this is what I feel sorry, that the parents talk about the teachers in singular terms. Never talk to your son or your daughter about the teacher. Usne kya kiya?
Very true. Very true.
Always use respectful language when it comes to teachers.
Teachers.
Never ever.
Yes.
I think so. Beginning from there, with respect for the teachers, wherever I went,
Okay.
I served my teachers.
Okay.
Even when I was in Kashi, that is how we lived. Even when we were doing bhiksha, going for alms, living on the ghat, that is how I served my teachers.
Okay.
So it was by their blessing, by their company, that could bring the necessary transformation. I wouldn't say that I have transformed, but whatever it was, if there is any achievement, it is because of the blessings that I have by serving them. So actually serving the teachers, being in their company, constantly learning even from their dant fatkar, everything. That is one practice which I feel. So satsang is one practice which can take a person, which can make a person grow in leaps and bounds in spiritual path. Another thing that I have found personally very, very satisfying in the spiritual path is that the books.
Yes.
And that is the Parayana. At times, I would just simply sit by Ganga or sit in a Shiva temple and say, so what, even if I don't understand, you understand. I'm reading it to you. So what, even if I'm going to make mistakes, because I'm bound to make mistakes, but you can correct.
Yeah.
And over years, I found that, those premises which I would never ever have understood started opening to me.
Okay.
I could understand. So two things I feel is that you give yourself to any spiritual practice, but do it very, very
religiously.
Do it with reverence.
Okay.
Another thing is that have respect for the source of knowledge. have respect for the source of knowledge. Don't let this idea of, oh well, I can know. Well, you can know, but there is going to be a limitation to your knowing.
True.
Be humble, learn, be ready to learn, and I think that takes a person way far ahead in life, at least when it comes to spirituality.
So Swamiji, you mentioned satsang, and satsang isn't only about the company of good, and it also means the company of good in terms of the books you read, like you mentioned. Can you suggest, like for the beginner, any 3 books that they can start reading and kind of discover themselves and take their first step towards learning or understanding themselves?
You should ask me, name few books or suggest a book to start understanding Vedanta.
Okay.
Because there are going to be books, motivational books, and they're in abundance.
No.
Your social media is full.
Yeah.
Every morning somebody or the other is sending you at least about, in 10 messages that you get, 8 messages are good morning motivational things.
Okay. Yeah.
So there is abundance of all these things.
Yes.
And in fact, we are tired of it now.
Yes, true.
Sometimes I really feel like telling people, please don't send.
Yeah. Our mailboxes are inundated, and so are we.
Bhai, mat bhejo.
True.
But so you ask me for books. One book is about the traditional learning of Vedanta, and in English is a book by Krishna Swami Iyer. It is called The Great Equation.
Okay.
Little technical, because unless and until you equip yourself more technically, you are not prepared to understand a subject or that matter precisely.
Okay.
If you are simply, going to say some spiritual romantic idea about spirituality, then perhaps you are not. This is not the book for you.
This is not the place.
Well, this is not the book. Then you should go with Khalil Gibran.
Okay.
I love that man, but yeah. Another book or author that I would suggest for traditional learning and for people who are more into English readership, and there is Swami Dayanandji
Okay.
of Arshavidya,
Huh.
a great teacher, a great intellect, and a wonderful, well-balanced person in the tradition of Vedanta. Besides that, you have those classical books,
Okay.
which randomly anybody need not follow Vedanta, and yet they can make
through them.
themselves make their lives fruitful, and that is books by Ramana Maharshi, those conversations, or by Nisargadatta Maharaj. These are the books. But if you really want to seriously enter into the portals of Vedanta, then you will have to equip yourself, come to Shankaracharya and see those things by later in Sanskrit. But that means little preparation.
Thank you so much, Swamiji. I've heard this very wise saying which says, जंगल जंगल ढूंढ रहा है मृग अपनी कस्तूरी को, कितना मुश्किल है तय करना खुद से खुद की दूरी को. But if one has got the right guru, isn't that difficult as it seems? And since you've guided us for like these 35-40 minutes, thank you so much, Swamiji. It has really helped us a lot in understanding the self, in understanding Vedanta, though we've just touched the surface. But thank you so much. Thank you so much, Swamiji.
Thank you, Shipra ji, and thank you to your team too.
Thank you so much.